Welcome to Yellow with Susu. I'm your host, Susu, and tonight's guest is actor and filmmaker Michael J. Renda. Hey, Michael.
Hi, how are you, Susu?
Good. Thank you so much for joining our podcast this evening. We're so lucky to have you on.
Thank you for inviting me. I appreciate it.
Yes, thank you. So let's just go ahead and dive in. Michael, can you tell us a little bit about your background and how did you first get involved in acting and filmmaking?
Sure, absolutely. I originally grew up in Detroit, Michigan. I currently live in Los Angeles right now, but a lot of filmmaking wasn't happening around that time. You know, it wasn't until the film tax incentives in 2008, that kind of gave it a push, let's say. But since I was a kid, I wasn't into gaming. I wasn't into sports. I wasn't into anything like that. So I kind of felt like a black sheep of, my friends and family. And my mom, she threw me into an acting class. And that's kind of where that all started. Yeah. And through improv. And then eventually I got into the Second City back when it was in Michigan. They since closed. It's the Novi location. So I really got into that. But the thing is, I grew up in an amazing household where I had access to all kinds of content and film, like on VHS back in the day, right? I was watching all that stuff. I was just so intrigued by it all. And I was like, I can do that? So I'm 8 years old, boom, in an acting class. There you go. That was my start.
Awesome. And that's really great. So your mom kind of, saw that you were looking to going into something and then you found your way through that acting class. What actually inspired you to transition from acting into directing?
What inspired me, actually one of my favorite films growing up, I have to name drop it, is Back to the Future. Basically, I was like, hold on. And I saw by the time DVDs came out, they had special features, right? And in special features, it's behind the scenes. And I was like, whoa, I can do that too. You know what I mean? Yeah, actually, it was a specific moment too. I loved the movie so much that back in like 2005, 6, right? I decided to make my own spoof series. It's called Mike and Devin Goes Back to the Future, and the only reason why it was very successful was because as a birthday gift, my father bought me Adobe, the program Adobe Editor, and the 1.1. And that was a huge influence. That's when I started diving into editing, and I just learned. I didn't read the manual. I just slowly learned it. And it was just a different experience, a different feeling and everything. And everything that you put into it, layering soundtracks and this and that, blah, blah, blah. It was a whole new world, because before when I was making just videos with my friends back in Michigan, you'd have 2 VHSs, you'd stop, hit record, this and that. So it was very freeing. So I have to give credit to Adobe.
Well, no, like you said, it sounds like you're a real self-starter. So how long have you been in Los Angeles now?
April 2015. So my 9th year. It's great. It's been an amazing journey.
Did you find a little more inspiration being in that area opposed to where you had grown up?
Yes, absolutely. The way I look at it, you can live anywhere in the world and do acting and filmmaking and stuff like that, right? But specifically here, I mean, the history of it, the history really inspires you, and it really motivates you even more because you wake up every day and I'm living basically in Hollywood, but they call it La La Land out here. Yeah, and it's like, it's amazing. Like, this is where it started, and also this is the heartbeat of the industry. This is where the decisions are made, whether they shoot here or not. This is the business of it.
Now, time for an ad break. Cater your next event with Village Foods, Michigan's go-to for Mediterranean wholesale and vegetarian delights. Visit villagefood.net. From fresh olives to savory herbs, they provide premium ingredients for restaurants, caterers, and special events. Taste the Mediterranean magic in every bite. villagefood.net.
So how does your experience as an actor actually influence your approach to directing?
I'm going to start with one word: observation. So when you show up on set, some people, and this is not against any other actors out there who do it, if you just want to act, just act, that's fine. But when you're on set, observe every single department, everything from lighting to sound to editing, everything, effects, makeup, everything. And I was the guy just watching and being quiet while everyone else is like in the green room eating. You know, so observation is everything, because that's how I learned. That's how I learned. It was like hands-on free training, let's say, you know. Yes, you have to do a lot of research, you know, you have to do your own stuff, but I'm just saying it was like hands-on free training on all the films that I've done, from series and even commercials, everything. I'm always watching. And that's the whole point. It's because while everyone else is, you know, chilling in the green room, eating food and talking about their stuff, I'm the guy, like, not asking questions, you know, because they're busy, they're working, but I'm watching. And that was the fire in me, where I was like, wow, maybe I could do this too as well, you know?
Yeah, well, you know, and had you had mentioned a little bit earlier, you know, not every actor has that call into filmmaking. You know, I've met, and I know you've met people who are strictly actors, and that is exactly what they do. And for somebody like
and that's
you,
fine.
and like I said, for somebody like you or even myself, you know, being behind the scenes, understanding production, understanding really what it takes. Michael, can you maybe let us know what is your process when it comes to bringing a film from a concept, a thought, an idea, to actually a screen, from the, you know, your writing, and then you're ready to develop and shoot?
From concept to screen, what people have to understand is you have to learn the business of the business. You have to. It's a business at the end of the day, the industry, right? So you have to learn. And because it's basically like Picasso without his paint, right? He has the canvas, he has the brushes, you have the paint. But once you have the paint, you get it. So basically through concept is, you know, everyone has an idea. It could be mine, it could be anything. But number one is, especially working on a film, like if I'm like directing the film, right? I understand actors, and also I have that ability too, because I am an actor and I always will be an actor. So I understand the kind of sensitivity level and understanding the playing field, let's say, right? I'm not like, you know, you have to say every single line and perfect and this and that. I'm not like a dictator. It's just more, I let them improv, come up with ideas, and I let them all talk about the script and concept. I'm not even there, because I want them to come up with new ideas, and they come up to me with new ideas that I didn't even think of, you know? So that's more like the pre-production. And then once you're in production shooting, you know, I mean, that's like, it's like military, you know, you just got to do it. And then once you have it in the can, then you go to post. But the thing is, there's 3 levels to post that people don't even understand. It's post, right? So it's not just editing. Now you're thinking of distribution and festivals, film festivals. So those are very difficult. So, you know, when you commit to a project, whether you're in front of or behind the camera, it's a huge thing.
That kind of makes you a little bit more relatable, and being able to speak with your actors. And again,
Correct,
it sounds
correct. Because I was there and I know how it feels. You know what I mean? Like, and I let them at ease. I don't bark at my actors. I do not like directors who bark. You know, and it's okay. Everyone has their style, right? But I'm just saying, it's just show up on time and let's get it done. And that's great. You know, like that's all I'm asking for.
And staying organized. But again, it says, like I said, it sounds like you put a lot of trust in your actors, where just like we were speaking before, a lot of actors have never done production, but then we have a lot of people who are behind the scenes who have never stepped in front of the camera.
The learning experience advantage, yeah.
Exactly. So I can definitely understand that. And then you stepping into the director role, which, can you actually share some of the challenges you faced as both a director and a filmmaker?
Yeah, challenges. Yeah, there's a million of them. But to put it in a nutshell, I'm just going to say this really quickly. There's a rule of thumb. 99% of filmmaking is problem solving. So the biggest challenges are scheduling, and of course, there it goes, finances, right? You got to make sure that you have your EPs and your producers locked in correctly, because you can have everything lined up, but again, like, you know, it's like sailing a ship, you know, when it doesn't have its coal, right? It's like the ship's ready, we got the captain, we have all the passengers, but it doesn't move. So that is why you need to understand and respect EPs a lot, and producers as well, which they have a little more creativity information, where EPs just kind of give you the money, you know, for the production, and you can kind of play with it for your film, which is great. And that's the ideal. That's the apex. That's what everyone wants. But it's very hard because they have to trust you. And also it's about building relationships, real relationships. This is a very unorthodox, industry. Okay. Yeah. You have to keep it personal. And if you build a real relationship, you really blossom, I want to say.
And, just hearing that, and for anybody out there that's listening who's, might have never started filmmaking but wants to be a part of the business and the industry within itself, which, you've been doing this for quite some time. I was going to ask, what are some of the most memorable projects that you've worked on, either as an actor or director?
Okay. So I am SAG-AFTRA, all that stuff, right? It's the rite of passage, right?
Why don't you explain, because some people might not know what is SAG-AFTRA?
SAG-AFTRA, once you get it, so it's a Screen Actors Guild and American Federation of Television and Radio. So they merged years ago, which is great. I think it was a great merger for everyone. It's a union that protects you, and it's amazing. And once you get there, it's kind of your rite of passage, like I was saying. So it's like that you're legitimate, like you are an actor, even if you're independent and you're not even union yet, it's okay. Like it works both ways, but I'm just saying. But I have to say the film that I got Taft-Hartley'd on. Taft-Hartley'd means that I didn't have to do, I've done background, sorry. You've got to start off as an extra in background and then be an observer, of course, 100%. But I just mean, I didn't get the 3-slip process at the time or a new media agreement at the time. So I was Taft-Hartley'd. So that's kind of like a little clause in the industry that the director and writer and the whole production trusts you enough as a non-union actor to hire you as a union actor. You're eligible at first, but you know what I mean. So,
right.
Yeah, but the feeling for anyone out there too that's listening that isn't SAG-AFTRA yet, it's a very exclusive club. Really, there's only about 200,000 people in the world, right? A population of 8 billion, that only about 200,000 people are SAG-AFTRA. So that is very much, and it opens up amazing more opportunities, So it's just kind of you have to be at the right place at the right time.
Right. In order to join the union, it actually, a lot of actors might not know, and if you are studying or you want to be a filmmaker and actor or actress, save the money, because the fee for the national fee is about $3,000.
Literally $3,000, but at the time it was before they merged, so actually I had to separately pay for AFTRA and SAG. Yeah, that was pretty fun. This is for anybody listening that's an actor, especially. Get their thick skin, be accepted to rejection. You have to, and it's not your fault, right? It's not that you're a good or bad actor. Don't look at it like that. It's just you're not right for the part, because these are one of the very few industries. It's very specific, the types that are being cast. It could be demographic. It could be race. It could be anything. Looks. You're probably just as good as the other person who got the role. And by the way, don't burn any bridges. Always congratulate them. You know what I mean? So
right.
That's also a piece of advice there.
I was going to ask you that too, because, just being in the situation you have been in, you've lived in Michigan, you've lived in Los Angeles, you've been to different states to shoot and to film.
Yeah.
What is some advice that maybe you could give to somebody who is looking to be a director?
It will just be, if not 10 times harder, to be a director. You got to love it. How about that? You got to love it. You got to study it. You got to take it serious. For actors, also don't take yourself too serious, because then you start emotionally beating yourself up. That's what a lot of people don't talk about. You know what I mean? Oh, I didn't get the role. This man, yeah, it's okay. It's okay. I've been rejected on so many films. Are you kidding me? I have no problem with it now. I used to in my early. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It does.
You could take a bad written script or a great written script and do it any way that you want. Apples and oranges. You know what I mean? So it's when they tell you to play. Yeah. I'm not a screenplay writer. I'm a concept writer. So therefore, I have the layout, and I do have lines in there, this and that. Anyone who's interested in that as well, even actors, start doing that. And also, you have to write within your budget, right? Especially on the independent level, right? Not studio level, but independent level. So you have to write within your budget. Yes, anyone can make an epic script, right? I can make the next, I don't know, a $3,000 CGI shot of a dragon coming out of a volcano, right? You know, it's like you have to write within your script. So you have to keep that in mind when you're writing. That's my only advice on that. But again, I'm not a writer. I'm a concept writer. So you know what I mean? Yeah. When I'm shooting, this is kind of my style. So when I'm shooting, right? So we're like, everyone's ready, everyone, you know, this and that. Sometimes I'll just let the camera record. Sometimes it's an action, a hard action, you know, and this and that. Of course, safety meeting, all that. You know, you got to keep all that in mind. But sometimes an actor will slip and say something because they got so in depth with their emotion on some level, even though it's off script. I'm like, that's effing perfect. You know what I mean? By the way, they can even throw out one of my lines. I'm completely fine. Whether they forgot it or whether that I don't do retakes. I don't hit cut till I know. And it's amazing. Like, just watching, like, and they flourish because I'm sorry for the directors out there that, you know, you have to do every line. It has to be like this, okay? Like, there's nothing against them. That's your style. That's your thing. But when you restrict somebody in a cage, let them break out of the cage. So when you give them the freedom to play, as I call it, like improv, boom. Like, you get magic, lightning in a bottle. And there's a mutual unwritten rule and respect. When you show up on set, right, it's like we all know our story. How we got here, we don't know, you know, but it's just strangers working together in a good way, you know. And yeah, some might be friends and this and that. Oh, yeah, I remember you from this. And, oh, yeah, you were in that thing. Okay, that's great. You know, it's just a mutual respect, you know. Yeah.
That's really awesome. Michael, can you describe a moment on set maybe had a profound impact on you and your creativity?
Profound impact on me. I got to kind of ponder on this one because there's so many. So many. I guess, you know, a very profound one. I worked on this film with this director and screenplay writer, and it was called Getting Out, and not Get Out, Getting Out, okay? We came out before Get Out. But anyway, I got to play for the first time because, again, remember, I started in theater, and then that transition from theater to film is totally different. You know, it's a whole other world. It's apples and oranges. So anyway, the most profound one that when I got my first independent supporting role was I got to work. I don't know how to explain it, like my character arc, right? You know, I played a guy named Derek, and it went from, it was almost like theater because, look, in theater, this is what people who are listening, you need to know. Theater, you go from beginning to end. In film, you can shoot the last scene first and the other scene, you know, so you got to be emotionally available is what I'm saying. You have to be on point and respect your character. So then he's streamlined, not like, oh God, now I got to do this. Oh God, I got to do this. Oh, now I'm sad and now I'm happy. Now I'm blah, 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 you know, all that stuff. Yeah, it's that one. Yeah. So for Getting Out, for me, playing Derek was like really, really amazing because I was with the lead all the time, and you learn from other people, and great actors steal, good actors learn. Okay, so always steal, and not like copying what they're doing, right? Just always steal. So you know what I mean, and take that home with you, kind of thing. And that was very profound. Yeah.
Just maybe borrow a little bit here and there. But no, like you were saying, that moment for you just kind of inspired your creativity. What are your thoughts on the future of filmmaking with all the new technology and the cameras and the platforms that are coming out?
I'm basically, theaters are going to be like a sports arena or like a concert, like a spectacle, like with holographs, all that stuff. The technology exists. So you'll be immersed in the movie, right? Because if you're going out now and you're paying your top dollar, right, to go see something interesting, I mean, trust me, it'll make IMAX 3D look like nothing, okay? And I love IMAX. Okay, so anyway, but I'm just saying, I think now, especially with streaming and everything that's happening, when you get home, that's when you watch those real, true, intimate stories. You know, like the real stories. So that's what I believe is going to happen. You know, so you're going to go out, it's going to be like the Colosseum, you know, back in ancient Rome, you know, like to a movie theater. It's going to be a crazy spectacle. But when you come home, that's when you watch the real stories. As Jeff Goldblum said, life finds a way, just like the industry. It's not going to be back in the 90s, not in the 80s, the 50s, right? I mean, if you look at the history, I mean, when talkies came out, right? Because all they knew was silent film. So it's like you have to embrace the future. I don't necessarily agree that that's how it should be. I like a good old classic theater where I go and I just, have my popcorn, have my soda, just enjoy myself, right? With my friends or my partner, right? But I'm sorry, this is the way it's going. They even said streaming wouldn't take off, and now look at this. So cable's almost dead, right?
What does the future of filmmaking look like for you? Do you have any new projects coming up? You're still going to pursue acting while you're directing?
Absolutely. I'm doing it all. I'm a one-man show. I have to make a joke a little bit, right? Yeah, I'm always forever will be an actor. And by the way, for anyone listening too, for actors, you know what's great? It's not like you have to retire at a certain point being an actor, right? Like, it's not like you're playing for the NFL. It's not, you're too old to do this now. No, you could be any age at any range. That's the beauty of it. Samuel L. Jackson didn't even make it till he was about 42. So just think about that. Keep that in your mind. For directing, look, I'm in my infancy of directing, but I'm definitely directing. So it's another thing that you need to learn and observe more, watch more, and also get outside of your genre. Don't just, because you like sci-fi, just watch sci-fi. And this is for directors too. So you've got to watch everything that you even feel uncomfortable with, because you have to see a new lens, literally and figuratively, no pun. You have to see life in a new lens and new storytelling. Stay updated.
That's a really good point, because I have always watched a lot of Middle Eastern films, and I have watched a lot of American films. But recently, I actually started watching some Korean shows, and I thought it was interesting because I wanted something different.
Yeah.
It was it was just a reminder that you're not stuck. There are so many different types of ways to shoot something. Just if you're in America doesn't mean you have to shoot films in American style.
I came off of a film that was a Bollywood film.
Very cool.
Yeah, like a little hints of Bollywood, and it's really interesting. It's not outside of the range. It's a style. It's like Tim Burton, right? Everyone thought he was so weird, so this, so that, blah blah. But look what he made. It's funky, but it's supposed to be funky. That's his thing. Scorsese, right? We know what he does. He does his thing. So just think about that. Just be authentic and don't try to be the next thing. Try to be your own next thing. That's what I want to say.
And would you have any last words of advice for any filmmakers, anybody trying to become a director or wants to be an actor before we wrap up?
At the end of the day, you know what? The takeaway for all actors, anyone in the industry, and filmmakers, and directors, even producers, all that, any department, by the way, to the lighting department, I know you guys are out there. You guys work your butts off. So just have fun, because that's the whole point why we're doing this. Don't forget to have fun is what I want to say. Always trust in your producer 100%, like, your sidekick, right? Your first AD, because your first AD is everything. Because there's only so much we can do, right? That's like having every food in the world on a table for you, and it's like, I can't eat all of this. You know what I mean? So
right.
You have to trust. It's a collaborative art. If one person fails, everything, it's a house of cards. It'll collapse. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, and like you said, I've learned, because in the beginning, the more projects you can be a part of, the more you will understand. But once I started realizing, and, when I helped produce some projects, it was all about being organized, being on, getting things done in a timely fashion. Sure, there can be technical difficulties. That's life. And that's where you had mentioned you have to learn how to problem solve.
Also, don't compromise your worth too at the same time. So it's a really fine balance of doing that,
right.
When, people are working very hard, everyone has one goal. Shout out to the art department too on my end, because man, they hustle. That's amazing. But anyway, so you have to always keep that in mind too, but you have to eventually go outside of your comfort zone, always, or you're not going to improve. So say, you book two or three things, right? From acting or directing, this and that. Well, that's your style and that's your brand, right? But step outside of your comfort zone and see where it goes, because that's where you realize something that's like, whoa, I didn't know I could do that.
Right.
There's really no failure in that. There really isn't. If anything, it opens up. If it doesn't work, guess what? Go back to one. right? That's it.
Right. And that's really great to hear. And how you said, go outside your comfort zone, but also know your self-worth and know your boundaries, and don't give up on yourself, which I was going to see, like, how has your faith led you to keep going on in this field?
Your faith, your hope, right? Yeah. That is something that you have to remind. So you have to look at yourself in the mirror every day and say, I got this. Because if you don't got that, it's not that you don't have it. Maybe you haven't learned it yet. It is actually learnable. At least that's why, I took a leap, from acting to directing? Like, that is crazy. Filmmaking in general. So it's like, in my lifetime, I've lost 150 pounds. And that's just a personal choice. I'm not talking about image and all that stuff, okay? You can be anybody in film. That's the beauty of it. You can be anybody. I'm just saying, so it's like that takes challenge. That takes work to have that confidence every single day, even when I don't think I can do it. No. Don't stay in your comfort zone and get out.
Yeah, and like you said, and waking up every day and having, the faith and the hope to keep moving forward. That's really a big deal, because you don't know, anything could happen at any moment. You can,
exactly.
Your career can launch up, or it might take 10 years and you have to keep trying. But, being able to not give up, which is it's really important in the field as well. But I was going to ask you too, is there any person that you would like to give a shout out to before we wrap up?
A million of them.
Oh, right.
If you're listening to my voice, you know who you are. How about that? You know what I mean? A million. So I just have a nice little take home too. To anybody that's in this industry, it's mutual respect, always, because it is not easy. It's not easy. You still have to have a day life, right? And then once you are in the industry, it's like working a job but not. And then once it just keeps going. And if for actors out there specifically, if you're not booking, it's okay. And think about your region, your area, your types, this and that. Think about that. If you're not booking, it's not your fault unless you're being lazy. And sorry, there are lazy actors out there, okay? But in a good way, yeah. Oh, they are. Yeah, they're like, oh, I could do that too, right? Oh, yeah, sure, try it. So anyway, I'm sorry. This is the harsh reality. I also highly recommend reading David Mamet, a book. It's a really good book, David Mamet. He's a very staunch theatrical director back in the day, all that. But that really, it kind of gave me that, okay, here's the process, because there's no blueprints for this industry. There's really not. I mean, yeah, you could do and train and all that, but again, you got to drive the car. So drive the car. No,
that's really amazing. And I've learned a lot myself, and just kind of hearing you, go through your story, and just so much insight, and, like, again, you just being an actor and then transitioning into directing is a big deal. And it was just really awesome having you on this evening. And thank you so much, Michael.
I appreciate it. Actually, I do have one shout out.
Yeah, sure.
Sue.
And like I said, it's really fun talking to all different types of people, and each person has a different experience. So your story is going to be different than somebody else. So somebody who is listening can completely relate. They might not relate to a different type of director, but maybe they experience something similar to you that might kind of help them, and then inspire them to point to something that you're doing. And it takes a lot of hope and faith. So it's really amazing on your part, and really wish you the best, and just thank you for taking the time out to spend with us this evening and to be able to talk to us. Really appreciate you, Mike.
And just remember for anyone out there, we're all a community. We are a community. So it's not because my film was better than yours and this and that, blah, blah, blah. No, it's like people dream about this. They have dreams that they will take to their graves that they never got to experience. So appreciate it.
Even the certain people that you choose in your life. Like your friendships, your relationships. So
family was chosen for us, but friends are the family that we choose for ourselves. There you go.
You need a good support system and being able to believe in yourself. So I thought that was really cool too. Well, thank you so much, Michael. Yalla.